In this video, I will show primary supervisors how to approve an expense report. From this screen, which is Manage My Desktop, you will see your tasks outstanding here. Unlike the timesheet tasks, you will launch it from the upper portion versus the lower portion, and I'll show you what I mean. If you are on a timesheet task, you could select an individual timesheet or leave request, and you would click Launch here. For expense reports, they've moved the launch button to the top section. So this will launch all of your outstanding expense report tasks. We'll go ahead and click that now. This area is called the header section. It will automatically default to outstanding tasks. If you wanted to search for a specific expense report, we would change this to status, and I will show you how to do that later. For now, I recommend you minimize this section to get the screen to only show your expense reports. Currently, we are looking at table view. I find it to be the easiest way to approve expense reports. Click on the expense report that you need to review. This is your status column, which will show you submitted and under review. So we're going to go ahead and choose that one. Next, you want to click on workflow, and this section down here will open up. To review the expenses, you can look up here in this section, or you can review them down here individually. I do recommend that you change it to table view. To view the attachments, look for the lines that have attach as a task. Click on that line. You can see this is lodging for $200, and the receipt has been attached because it says completed. You can click on the View Attachment and open the receipt to look at it. You would want to do that on all of the attachment lines. And we'll view that one. And we'll close it. The last thing for you to do as a primary supervisor is choose the line for primary supervisor. The task is Approve. The Perform Selected Task would mean that you are approving it, and if you need to reject it, you would select this task that says Reject Selected Task. For this example, we will approve this expense report. Now I will show you how to search for specific expense reports if you did not launch it from the Manage My Desktop screen. I had you minimize the Manage Approve Expense Reports header section, so we need to restore that. Next, you will change the filter to Status. This should default to Primary Supervisor. We want to change or make sure the status that is checked is Submitted. Under Review means that you have already approved it and the backup administrators need to review it. So we can uncheck that because we want to look for expense reports that we need to approve. This is just another way to get to them. So we have Submitted checked. We'll click on the lightning bolt to refresh the screen. Again, I'm going to minimize the header section so that I can see more of what I need to see on my screen. I'm going to choose an expense report. Not all expense reports have lines that all have receipts. For instance, mileage, there is no receipt. So what you will see up here is only the lines that have receipts. So if you want to see all of the expenses, you can go down to the claimed expenses, make sure it's in table view, and you can see that there's mileage. If you want to see the details of that line, you can go ahead and double click it, and what that does is change the claimed expenses to form view. You can go through the tabs and review the expenses and go back to details, and then you could scroll through them this way as well, but then I recommend you go back to table view. You would follow the same instructions as the previous example by clicking on the attachment lines, viewing the attachment, click on the next one, and then finally perform the primary supervisor task by approving this expense report. We're going to go ahead and perform the selected task. After you've performed your task, the expense report will disappear off your screen and will default to the oldest expense report in your list. If you wanted to see expense reports that are in draft status, we'll go ahead and maximize this section again, and we will simply change this to draft and not submitted, and then click on the lightning bolt. I'll go ahead and minimize this section. And now I could see all of the expense reports that my employees have started but not yet completed or submitted. If you click on one of the wrong buttons and close out and can't find your way back, the easiest thing to do is close out the entire screen and go back to Manage My Desktop or whatever other page and navigate it again using the menus. And that concludes the video on how to approve expense reports.